We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Do you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Charlie Bono. I'm a junior here at Mount Olive, and I'm getting interviewed.
And you're also our MVP.
I am.
We don't have a lot of wrestlers in this school, I don't believe, but you're one of them.
I am.
And not only that, you made it in third?
I got third in the regional.
It's very impressive. What all sports did you play this year, given some of the seasons are out?
Well, during the summer, I play travel softball, and during the spring, I play school softball. And then in the fall, I play volleyball, and in the winter, I wrestle.
You got a busy schedule.
I do.
When did you, when's the wrestling season?
The wrestling season, it starts in November, like officially, but there's summer practices and lifting and everything. But it ends mid-February.
What grade did you start playing, doing wrestling?
I started wrestling freshman year because I didn't like basketball anymore. I was a dual sport there for a little bit, but I ended up turning in the practice jersey.
Did you find that it was better than basketball?
Yes, I think I have a lot more fun at wrestling than I do at basketball, even though it's way harder. The people at wrestling is what keeps me around.
A very good environment there. Speaking of the people and the environment, how do you feel that the season is going?
My season, up until we started wrestling girls, which I guess I should probably preface that, for the beginning to the middle and early postseason, I wrestle boys varsity. Since we didn't have a girls team this year, and so my record would not show that I'm doing very good. But when it comes to the girls stuff, I'm doing a lot better. I'm placing at everything, so
it's gotten better as time has gone on.
It's gotten a lot better.
Got any hopes going into with the ending of the season coming soon?
I hope to make it to state. My sectionals bracket is gonna be tough, but if I can make it to state as a junior, that would set me up really nice for my senior year to have a run at it again.
I bet that it would. Seems like something you're really semi-passionate about. It's a very interesting thing. As we know, wrestling, at least around this part, is more of a male-dominated sport. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's kind of been that way. Like, it was even more male-dominated when I started freshman year. Since the past 3 years, it's grown a lot. Women's wrestling has grown a lot, but it's still absolutely a male-dominated sport, and it's just about every team will have about 1 to 3 girls, and we're few and far between.
Do you think that maybe next year there will be more girls joining in?
I think so. I think there's been a lot of people joining every single year.
And since you're planning to do this next year, and frankly, you do a whole lot of sports, how's the time management on that? How do you do it?
Well, the trick to it is you get your stuff done at school. You just don't want to have to bring anything home. So when you're at school, it's just a work time. There's no goofing off.
So you're just all serious whenever you get here?
Yeah, from 8:05 to 2:30, you just work. And then, ideally, you don't have to bring anything home, and I can go home and I can play Roblox.
Are there any sports that you wish you did?
I don't think so. I think that everything that I've wanted to do, I've given a shot. I don't think there's any exotic sport that I've ever wanted to try that I never got to.
Is there any sport that you wish you hadn't done?
I wouldn't say that my time playing basketball was a waste of time, but I mean, I started in like 3rd grade. And like from the point where I could get the ball up to the hoop, I was forced to play basketball. And little 3rd grade me, I guess, wasn't so opposed to it, but as time went on, I got so burnt out. And by the time I got to junior high and I played all 3 years of junior high basketball, I had, starting every game, by the way, I had a career 6 points over every game. It was pretty bad. And then the sectional game, my 8th grade year, the basketball team made it to state. And the sectional game, like 11 seconds left on the clock, I was inbounding the ball. And my coach told me, Charlie, the one thing you cannot do is hit the ceiling. Which you would think, no way, right? Like, not even an issue. Straight up. Just, I threw it straight at the ceiling. I couldn't do it again if I tried. And we lost the ball. We didn't lose the game, but we did lose the ball. And it was very scary.
Was that a turning point with you deciding that you were done with it?
No, but in hindsight, it should have been because it was pretty embarrassing.
Well, it's good to have that sort of confidence going in and out. You mess up, you mess up. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, but...
Maybe a little emotionally,
yeah,
but...
it definitely did a little bit.
If you are planning to seek a higher education after this, are you wanting to continue sports in college or university or any of those?
I think I'm definitely going to play some sport in college, whether it be like I choose a school based on my career and then I walk on to like the rowing team. I will play a sport in college, but what sport that is, I'm not entirely sure. I don't even know what I want to do. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to college for yet or where I'm going.
That's always a tricky question.
It's kind of something you should decide before your junior year, but...
Oh, I know seniors. I've interviewed seniors who aren't even sure of it themselves.
I really hope that is not my position by then, but it very well might be.
Well, you have a whole nother year to worry about all that.
That's the mindset that got me here.
Well, let's see if it can get you out of it, too.
We'll see.
We'll see. So, I know that sports can sometimes overlap with other things outside of it. Have you had to pick sports over anything else?
Well, I don't have a job, if that's
helps.
what you're implying.
I'm not.
No, it would definitely be really hard to balance a job in sports. I work a little bit during the summer, but during the summer I might even be on more teams than I am right now. When it comes to like extracurriculars, things like clubs and bands, I am in no clubs. I haven't joined I didn't do NHS or anything like that, partially because I had nothing to put on my application because all I do is play sports.
Shows you have good teamwork skills.
Right, but that's not what gets you on NHS.
I wouldn't know.
And I did quit band because, I wouldn't say because of all the sports I do, but it was definitely a big overlap, and it didn't help me want to stay in band. So we left.
Have interviewed a couple of people who have left band and who are still in band, and a lot of them say there were a couple contributing factors into wanting to leave it altogether.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Here, let's throw a question out here. It's a bit controversial, but
Here we go.
Marching band and cheer, are those sports in your mind?
I think, okay, here's a hot take for you.
Oh my.
I think a sport is a sport when you can play defense. I think that cheer, while it is an athletic activity, I'm not going to say it doesn't require anything, like you obviously have to pick people up. But I think a sport is a sport when you have offense and defense, like golf. I think that golf could be a sport. It could be like grueling, like 100-degree weather and you're walking from hole to hole. It could be grueling if, okay, so you start at the hole, right? And you get a armored man starts about one hole behind you.
Like a knight?
Just like Ray Lewis, like football pads. And he starts one hole behind you. And he's also golfing these holes. And if he catches you, then you lose. That is the trade-off. That is how you would make golf a sport.
Like tag.
Like tag, but yes, like tag. And like with cheer, the other team, they can knock you down. Like that is the rule that would make cheer a sport. Marching band, they don't block off the roads. The cars are coming.
The cars are here.
It's less of a marching band and more of a running band, but
What about the ones on the field?
they don't stop the game.
They don't stop the game.
They don't stop the game.
They don't stop. That would be certainly...
I think we're a little off track.
Yes. That... I had to sit back there and imagine how that's been since I've been in a sport... I've been in marching band and stuff like that.
It's definitely closer to a sport than it is like a club because of, I mean, I played tuba, so I also probably had it a little bit worse than some people, but like in my experience, it took athleticism to some extent.
Yes. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm gonna ask you a pretty basic question, a little handful just to end everything off. We start with the first one. What would you say to someone who is coming into any of the sports you've played, but since we're more curious about wrestling, what would you say if they were going on about wrestling?
If it was my situation, I had never wrestled before in my life. It was a completely new sport to me. I'd never done a combat sport in my life. If there was somebody that was going in completely blind to wrestling, the only advice I would have for them is do not quit. The worst thing you can do to yourself is start out. Wrestling, I think, is probably the hardest thing just ever.
Point blank.
Like the cutting weight, the practices are horrible. Don't even get me started on when it gets warm outside and we can go to the bleachers. Don't get me started. But the best advice I could give you is do not quit, because you're going to experience, if you go to 2 or 3 practices and then you quit, you're going to be able to say, I wasn't able to do that. You saw a glimpse of what it was going to be and you just didn't think you could do it. And that sitting in the back of your head is probably worse than any amount of cutting weight or any amount of like injuries or whatever is keeping you from wrestling. The
mental over the physical stuff.
Like the mental.
Where?
Like you being aware that you were incapable of it is going to harm you more than just doing it.
Is that the mentality you keep with all of your sports?
No, because if I were to quit volleyball right now, I would not tell you that it was because
It's all right.
I would not tell you that I quit volleyball because it was too hard.
So there's a different mindset there.
Yeah, and it also kind of plagues every other sport I do in the fact that the practices are just not the same.
Mm-hmm. Once you can do one, you can do them all.
Like, once you do wrestling, there's nothing. There's just nothing that compares. Like, you're not going to go through a volleyball practice that's even remotely similar. And
Sure
it'll
hope
kind of,
not.
it kind of makes you look down your nose at everything else. It kind of makes you like you're just not as good as me.
Confidence will definitely get you far. It will definitely get you far.
It'll get you started.
That it will, at least. Any, like, horrible memories you have, or, like, memories that are, like, if I could, I would not choose to do that again?
Well, the thing that is most off-putting, the thing that if I were to quit wrestling, this would be the reason, is the getting injured. because when you get injured during wrestling, it is something horrible. My freshman year, I was wrestling, and a new guy came in, and I was going with him because I was new, he was new, and I posted my hands on the mat, and my hand stayed in the mat, and my elbow went completely forward. This disgusting pop noise, and it crunched. There's just not enough words to describe the noise it made other than ugh. And I screamed because why wouldn't you?
Ouch.
And I just couldn't move my arm. I had to sleep. I had to put a pillow under my arm, and I had to have a weight on the end of it because it needed to go back into place. It was horrible, but it didn't last. I was like, the other thing is taking rest days is not something that you do. Like, if you want to be good, you don't take days off. So it's wrestling like this, and it's you get the work in. I mean,
now, end it off on a positive note. Favorite thing?
my favorite thing about wrestling is the people and the coaches and the people that I get to meet because of wrestling. It sucks. Don't get me wrong, wrestling sucks, but getting your hand raised after a match makes it all worth it. Also keeps me skinny. So take that how you will.
Well, is there anything you'd like to end off with? I know I've asked you a lot, but
I think that everybody on this planet should go through at least a wrestling practice. I think it would shape the way a lot of people look at things, and I think it would be overall beneficial. I think that if everybody carried the mindset that wrestlers have, that it would benefit us, like, as a whole.
that's certainly an interesting outlook, and I'll definitely be thinking about it later. But if that's all, we are really excited to see where this goes. If you go to state,
It's sectionals this weekend, and then state follows that if I make it out.
we are very excited to see how that goes, and we are so happy that we are able to interview you. And this is just a very overall exciting moment in what I think is for the school and the whole wrestling community at the school, even though I don't believe there is much.
Well,
I know there's a handful. I'm not sure.
people that have wrestled, not necessarily that they still do it.
Well, it's not something everyone can uphold. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.